This is the top 10 WWE professional wrestling match types of all time. If you like today's video, make sure you hit that like button, comment down below, and subscribe so you don't miss anything else on my channel. So without further ado, let's get started with number 10. When you strip away all the gimmicks and all the weapons, sometimes you have an even better match than with all the extra goodies involved. One of the most recent examples happened at Clash at the Castle 2022, where Gunther defended his Intercontinental Championship against Sheamus. It was an epic match. Those two beat the living hell out of each other, and in the end, Gunther was able to successfully defeat Sheamus to retain his Intercontinental Championship. That was clearly the match of the year in terms of one-on-one matches. If you want to go back even further, let's look at the epic battle that happened between Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker that took place at WrestleMania 25, which is arguably considered one of the greatest professional wrestling matches of all time. And also their sequel match that took place at WrestleMania 26, although not highly regarded, is still one of my personal favorites, as the stakes were much more higher, as when Shawn Michaels lost, he was forced to retire as Undertaker continued his streak at 18-0. We won another classic match, then look no further than the Randy Savage vs. Ricky Steamboat match at WrestleMania 3, arguably considered one of the greatest Intercontinental Championship matches of all time, and one of the main reasons why the Intercontinental Championship is held in such high regard with the WWE Championship. Some of the most intense matches in company history were steel cage matches, and with good reason. The cage forces two foes to bring their rivalry to a violent close. Who could forget the Jeff Hardy vs. CM Punk SmackDown steel cage match with World Heavyweight Championship all the way back in 2009? It was actually a loser leave WWE match where it turns out to be Jeff Hardy, because in reality, he failed a couple drug tests and he eventually went to TNA. Overall though, it's still considered one of the best SmackDown steel cage matches of all time. Another epic steel cage match happened Unforgiven 2005, where Edge took on Matt Hardy. There was no titles on the line, just two people who really hate each other in real life due to a real life romance triangle between Edge, Matt Hardy, and Lita. The match was so bloody, and I always remember where Matt Hardy did the leg drop off the top of the cage to Edge to get the victory. It was such an amazing moment in my childhood. When we talk about steel cage matches, we cannot talk about the 2004 SmackDown steel cage match that took place between Eddie Guerrero and the WWE champion JBL. The mere fact that this match happened on network TV instead of a pay-per-view still shocks me to this day. One of my favorite moments personally is when Eddie Guerrero had the option to win a WWE championship by just simply exiting the cage from the top, but instead he decided to have a moment that everyone always remember, doing the frog splash right on top of JBL. Yes, that eventually cost him the match, but it's still a moment that everyone remembers to this day. When done right with two teams with legitimate bad blood between each other, the traditional Survivor Series tag team elimination match can be very dramatic. Perfect example is Survivor Series 2019, which featured Raw, SmackDown, and for the first time NXT. For women's side of things, Team NXT won thanks to Rhea Ripley pinning Sasha Banks alongside Candice LeRae and Io Shirai. On the men's side of things, we saw Team SmackDown's Roman Reigns be the sole survivor the entire match by beating Keith Lee to gain the victory for Team SmackDown. It was a very unique Survivor Series. Unfortunately, we have not seen this type of Survivor Series since then, mainly due to the pandemic, and since then NXT became more of a developmental territory once again. Another great Survivor Series that took place was Survivor Series in 2014, which saw Team Cena taking on Team Authority. If Team Cena would have lost, everyone but John Cena would have been fired. If Team Authority would have lost, then Authority would have finally been out of power. Thanks to returning Sting, Dolph Ziggler was able to get the victory over Seth Rollins, which made Authority lose power. Even though it was only for like 2 weeks, it was still an epic moment seeing Sting in WWE for the first time, as well as Dolph Ziggler finally getting a moment on his own, thanks to being the sole survivor of Team Cena. If we can go back even further, let's look back at the Survivor Series 2004, which was a decade before the Survivor Series 2014, which saw Team Orton take on Team Triple H. Whichever team won would have been in charge of Raw for the entire month. I think one of my favorite moments personally is when Randy Orton finally got the big win over Triple H, being the sole survivor for his team, RKOing the game to win the match. It was just a good moment for Randy Orton, considering the past couple months where he became World Heavyweight Champion only to lose to Triple H a month later after winning the title. So for this one for Randy Orton, it was a very good moment for him, and eventually skyrocketing him back into the main event status in WWE. With extended time given to a match, there are far more opportunities for wrestlers to shine. One of the more forgotten Iron Man matches took place in 2004 in Raw, where Chris Benoit defended his World Heavyweight Championship against Triple H. This was an instant classic for me, and I definitely remember this from my childhood. These two tore the house down for an entire hour, and thanks to the help of Eugene, Chris Benoit was able to successfully retain his World Heavyweight Championship against Triple H after a grueling 60 minutes. Unfortunately, this is one of the more forgotten Iron Man matches due to the fact that events happening 3 years later involving Chris Benoit, they don't talk about this match as often, but it was still a great match. Another amazing Iron Man match took place in the year 2000 at Judgment Day, where Triple H defended his World Wrestling Federation Championship against The Rock in a 60-minute Iron Man match. However, I think the match is more forgotten, mainly due to the ending, as it saw the return/debut of the American Badass version of The Undertaker, which is possibly my favorite version of The Undertaker to this day. Also, side note, so glad that he appeared in the 30th anniversary of Raw, but that's besides the point. Thanks to shenanigans that happened outside ring involving The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, Triple H was able to successfully retain his World Wrestling Federation Championship on that night. However, one of the greatest Iron Man matches took place at WrestleMania 12, which saw Bret the Hitman Hart defend his World Wrestling Federation Championship against Shawn Michaels. Obviously, one of the greatest matches of all time that took place at WrestleMania, saw two of the absolute best of the new generation era go at it for 60 minutes. The match was so great that at the end of 60 minutes, neither men could have gotten a pinfall or a submission, which went to sudden death rules, which saw Shawn Michaels successfully beat Bret Hart to become the new WWE champion. A fatal four-way or anything larger can become overcrowded and difficult to book. A triple threat is often a perfect way to settle feuds that extend beyond two wrestlers. One of the perfect examples of a good triple threat match happened at the Royal Rumble 2015, where Brock Lesnar defended his WWE Championship against John Cena and then Money in the Bank contract holder Seth Rollins. This match was absolutely amazing. There was at certain points on this match that I thought Seth Rollins was going to walk away with both the Money in the Bank contract as well as the WWE Championship. But in the end, Brock Lesnar was able to retain his title by hitting the F5 with Seth Rollins. I think the main reason why people like this match so much is because the main event, the Royal Rumble match itself, was horribly panned by critics due to the fact that Roman Reigns won, which is ironic in the year 2023 since Roman Reigns is the most over superstar in the entire professional wrestling industry. Another amazing triple threat match took place in the main event of WrestleMania 20 as Triple H defended his World Heavyweight Championship against the Royal Rumble winner Chris Benoit and Shawn Michaels in a triple threat match. This match literally stole the entire show in my personal opinion, even more so than Eddie Guerrero versus Kurt Angle, which happened only a few matches down. This match had everything: storytelling, technical wrestling, just beating the holy hell out of each other. And in the end, with a bloody Triple H, Chris Benoit made the game tap out to become the new World Heavyweight Champion. But just like all the other Chris Benoit matches, this one is less talked about to the events that happened a couple years later with Chris Benoit, but it's still arguably one of the best triple threat matches of all time. They want to talk about one of the greatest triple threat matches of all time. I think that honor belongs to Vengeance 2002, where Undertaker defended his WWE Undisputed Championship against The Rock and Kurt Angle. This match is still talked about to this day as one of the greatest triple threat matches of all time, down to the video package, which was done by Trust Company. I mean, to this day, I still remember every moment from that video package, as well as the match itself. A half an hour through the absolute best superstars going at it. In the end, The Rock was able to beat Kurt Angle with the rock bottom to win the WWE Undisputed Championship. What happens when you have tables, ladders, and chairs all in the same match? Absolute mayhem. One of those weapons was put to great use in SummerSlam of 2009, where CM Punk took on the World Heavyweight Champion Jeff Hardy in a TLC match. One of the most memorable moments in that match was Jeff Hardy climbing a damn near 30-foot tall ladder just to do a swanton bomb to CM Punk. The fact that Jeff Hardy did not kill himself on that day is absolutely amazing. But in the end though, CM Punk was successfully able to get back his World Heavyweight Championship, only for The Undertaker to return and chokeslam him after the match. Another great TLC match took place in 2006, which saw the Rated R superstar Edge defend his WWE Championship against John Cena, which the stipulation was if John Cena would have lost the match, he was forced to leave Raw and go back to SmackDown. In the end, thanks to an attitude adjustment from the top of the ladder through 2 tables, John Cena was able to get back his WWE Championship and thus ending the feud with Edge that took place in the span of a year. Speaking of Edge and Jeff Hardy, let's talk about the TLC match that took place at WrestleMania 17 for the World Tag Team Championships, as it was Edge and Christian, the Dudleys, and the Hardys. All 3 teams laid it all out on the line on that night, especially Edge and Jeff Hardy. Probably one of the second most used archive footage in WWE history is Edge spearing Jeff Hardy from top of the ladder 20 feet in the air. The fact that these 2 superstars are still walking to this day is something to be talked about. All 3 of these teams laid it all on line that night, and this is one of the reasons why the Attitude Era has such fond memories from everyone who grew up in it. Cage match turned even more devastating when WWE created Hell in a Cell, one of my personal favorite match types of all time. Unlike a traditional cage, it offers no escape. One of the most recent Hell in a Cells that took place was last year when Cody Rhodes took on Seth Rollins to end their trilogy of matches, but this time it was inside the cell. Before the match, however, Cody Rhodes legitimately tore his pectoral muscle off the bone, and he decided to still do the match with just one arm. Despite having one arm, Cody Rhodes was able to successfully defeat Seth Rollins to end their trilogy. It was considered one of the best matches of 2022. Another classic Hell in a Cell match took place at WrestleMania 28, one of my personal favorites. The Undertaker took on Triple H inside that cell, which was dubbed the End of an Era match. Brief side note, this match marked the first time the Undertaker wrestled the same superstar on 3 separate occasions. Triple H, he wrestled on WrestleMania 28, WrestleMania 27, and WrestleMania 17. This match is very special to me due to the fact that in 2012, these 2 were pretty much the last of the Attitude Era that was on the main roster, so they gave their all inside the cell that night. One of my favorite moments was when Shawn Michaels super kicked Undertaker, followed by a pedigree by Triple H, and I legitimately thought the streak was over. Luckily, Undertaker kicked out at 2, was able to tombstone Triple H, and was able to successfully defend his streak and went 20-0 on that night. I think the Hell in a Cell match that everyone remembers took place at 1998's King of the Ring that saw Undertaker take on Mankind. It's actually quite interesting considering this wasn't even the main event of the show, but yet this is the only match that people seem to talk about, mainly because this was the night that Undertaker threw Mankind from the top of the cell through the table. This sequence of events eventually became the most reused footage in WWE history. The second most reused footage happens to be when Undertaker threw Mankind through the cell with a chokeslam, and everyone legitimately thought Mankind was dead after that. Despite all of that, they continued to wrestle for another 10 minutes, and the crowd gave a standing ovation to Mankind after the match was over. If you thought the Hell in a Cell was dangerous, then you've never seen Elimination Chamber before. 6 superstars stuck inside this steel, not just trying to win this match, but actually trying to survive. Like the 2005 New Year's Resolution Elimination Chamber match, which saw Triple H take on Randy Orton, Batista, Chris Jericho, Edge, and Chris Benoit for the vacated World Heavyweight Championship, thanks to Eric Bischoff vacating it. In the end, Triple H was able to get his title back thanks to Batista sacrificing himself for Randy Orton, but Triple H was able to get the victory after pedigreeing Orton to reclaim his World Heavyweight Championship match, which eventually led to Batista turning on Evolution and winning the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 21. Or what about the Elimination Chamber match that took place a year later at New Year's Resolution 2006, which saw John Cena successfully retain his WWE Championship in a bloody Elimination Chamber match, which featured Carlito, Chris Masters, Shawn Michaels, Kane, and Kurt Angle. However, Cena's night was not over, as Edge will cash in a Money Bank briefcase for the very first time, beating Cena and becoming the WWE Champion. We talk about the most dangerous Elimination Chamber match, we gotta go all the way back to 2002 with the very first Survivor Series. We saw Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Chris Jericho, Kane, Booker T, and RVD all step foot into this chamber for the very first time. Triple H broke his throat during this match after RVD did a 5-star frog splash off the pod. It was surprising how he was able to continue the match, as in the end Shawn Michaels was able to beat Triple H with the Sweet Champions to become the World Heavyweight Champion on that night. When a feud gets too heated and too personal, the wrestlers have to go beyond their limitation rules. They have to go into a more violent, more barbaric version of themselves and fight like animals. A recent street fight took place in NXT TakeOver Chicago 2 in 2018 as Tommaso Ciampa took on Jangangaro in their second match of their feud of the year. These two showed that even in a PG environment you can get very violent, as in the end, with an exposed wooden canvas, Tommaso Ciampa was able to do a draping DDT to Jangangaro to defeat him in that match, making a rivalry at that point 1-1. Nobody will forget the epic street fight between Kurt Angle and Shane McMahon from King of the Ring 2001, which saw the two men go above and beyond the Call of Duty in what was a terrifying match to watch. Bank already suffering a major back injury in the match, he managed to hit 3 belly-to-belly suplexes to push Shane through a glass door, which was supposed to be sugar glass, but hadn't been changed, making this a very painful moment for Shane. Quite possibly one of the greatest street fight matches of all time has to go to Triple H and Mick Foley at the Royal Rumble 2000 inside Madison Square Garden. This match had everything, including thumbtacks, which is exactly where Mick Foley's face was going thanks to a pedigree by Triple H, and with that he was able to successfully retain his World Wrestling Federation Championship. This match pretty much put Triple H in the spotlight and showed that he could be a big time main eventer just like The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin. And the final WWE professional wrestling match type to end off this list is the Royal Rumble match. 30 superstars all winning a chance at immortality, where the winner of the match gets a main event spot at WrestleMania. So let's look at the 2023 Royal Rumble, where for the first time ever, positions number 1 and 30 both won the Royal Rumble match in the same night. For men's Royal Rumble, we saw returning Cody Rhodes enter at number 30 and was able to throw over the Intercontinental Champion Gunther after a 10-minute final 2 beatdown between the two during a shot at the Day We Undisputed Championship at WrestleMania. In the women's Royal Rumble, we saw Rhea Ripley enter at number 1 and outlast 29 other women to win the women's Royal Rumble and become the first woman to win the Rumble at the number 1 spot. 2008 Royal Rumble, which took place in Madison Square Garden, was all about surprises, as entering at number 30 was returning John Cena, who came back about 4 months before he was supposed to after tearing his pectoral muscle, was able to throw over Triple H and win the Royal Rumble match to secure a main event spot at WrestleMania. But if we want to talk about one of the greatest Royal Rumble matches of all time, we have to talk about the Royal Rumble 2001, which is an all-star Royal Rumble that featured Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy, The Rock, Kane, Big Show, Undertaker, and Stone Cold Steve Austin all in the same match. In the end, we saw Stone Cold Steve Austin eliminate Kane, who eliminated 11 other people, which has the most record of Royal Rumble eliminations at that time, to secure a spot at WrestleMania 17, becoming the first man in history to win 3 Royal Rumble matches. And that was the top 10 WWE professional wrestling matches of all time. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like today's video, make sure you hit that like button, comment down below, and subscribe so you don't miss anything else on my channel. And comment down below on a top 10 video that you want to see on this channel. With that, this is Crater signing off, and I'll see you guys next time.